calendaring your business activities so that you're chipping away a little bit every day really makes a big difference.
You're listening to Thrive by Design, business, marketing, and lifestyle strategies for your jewelry brand to flourish and thrive. Let's get started.
Hey there, it's Tracy Matthews, and I'm really excited to be here on the podcast today with a very special guest, Nina Cooper of Nina Designs. And I'm really excited to talk to Nina today because we're going to talk about a subject that I'm very passionate about: how to create a culture of fun in your jewelry business. Because we all know, as creatives, sometimes the businessy side of the business sounds a little daunting and doesn't sound super fun. So it's our jobs, being creative minds that we are, to make that fun. And so I'm excited to have Nina here. She's going to tell us some of the strategies that she uses to make the business side of things super fun. So welcome, Nina. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much, Tracy. I'm just completely jazzed to be here and have a chance to talk to your designers.
Well, I have known about you for a long time. You didn't even know I knew about you. But a lot of the designers in our community kept talking about this jewelry supplier named Nina Designs. Oh, where'd you get that? Nina Designs, Nina Designs, Nina Designs. Kept coming up over and over again. I'm like, who is this lady Nina? And I feel like, the universe kind of brings you full circle when the time is right. I was at a business mastermind in Austin, Texas a few months ago, and I ended up masterminding with this woman, and she's like, one of my good friends, it owns a jewelry company called Nina Designs. You two should totally connect. And I was like, yeah, I would love to meet her. And then she says it's Nina Cooper of Nina Designs. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to meet her because I've been hearing so much about Nina. So it's even more exciting to have you on the show today because of that, because I like how the world kind of pulls the right people together at the right time. So I think this is going to be a really fun interview.
And it's all about fun.
All right, so before we dive into some of the questions I have for you, I would love to do just a formal introduction so people know a little bit more about you. And I wanted to also mention that you were just nominated for WJA's award for business excellence. Is that correct?
Yes.
Am I getting that
exciting.
Right? Yeah. So you're going to be potentially win an amazing award in July.
I'm honored just to be nominated. It's a pretty big playing field. So I'm just going to enjoy going to the event and networking it with everyone. I think it's kind of a long shot that I would win. Because there's a lot of heavy hitters there, but it's a great honor to be nominated.
Well, I hope by the time that this airs, I'll be like, well, and guess what? And I'll have some positive news. But that's really exciting, and I just want to mention that here because it's an exciting honor for you to be nominated, of course. All right, cool. So Nina Cooper is the founder and chief creative officer of Nina Designs. Her company designs jewelry supplies that are manufactured in Asia and sold to over 2,000 professional jewelry designers around the world. After 30 fabulous years in business, she's eager to share her expertise. Cooper contributes regularly to jewelry-oriented magazines, including Jewelry Artist, Ornament, Beadwork, and Stringing. She's also been published in American Cinematographer and Glamour magazine. Cooper has appeared twice as an expert guest on the PBS show Beads, Baubles, and Jewels, and is the author of several best-selling webinars on the business of jewelry. Wow, that is quite a resume, and I love that you were on the PBS show Beads, Baubles, and Jewels with Katie, because I know Katie Hacker personally, and that's super cool.
It was really fun.
All right, so now that I've done this formal introduction and given a little background, I would love to hear in your own words a little bit more about your journey, how you sort of fell into the jewelry industry, and a little bit more about your expertise.
Sure. Well, in some ways, I feel like I was more born into the jewelry industry. I've loved making jewelry, probably like many of your people in Flourish and Thrive circle. I loved making jewelry since I was a little girl. I sold my products at my first craft show when I was 10 years old. And it was so exciting to see other people enjoying the jewelry that I made that I just kept going with it. I would sell jewelry to my friends' parents. And then I had a shoebox all through high school that I would sell jewelry out of. And I eventually got a booth on Telegraph Avenue in Berkeley when I was 17 and sold jewelry with all the hippies there.
Totally makes sense. I love it.
Yeah. And started also selling in local boutiques. But I noticed that a lot of the women were raising their kids in the car fumes on the street. And I thought, I really don't want to do that. So I decided to major in business at Cal. I was definitely the odd woman out in the business school, but I thought it was really important at the time. There was sort of a false dichotomy. You could be an artist or you could make money, but somehow if you wanted to do both, you were a sellout. And I just really didn't buy into that. So I was determined to find a way to marry art and commerce.
Okay, can I stop you there? Because I love that. And I totally live by that philosophy too. I think that's such an important value to have, to believe that you can make money as an artist and do really well. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah,
so sorry to interrupt, but
yeah, no, I think it's worth interrupting because I think that deep down, some of the dread we have of dealing with money and the business side of our businesses comes from thinking that it's a sellout to be putting our time and attention there. I think that that's a false choice. I think it's actually, if you embrace, I think not having financial resources can actually liberate you to do your art. And so if you think of the business as freedom, rather than as just something dragging you down or something that's making you a sellout, you have a very different attitude towards it.
So I love that. So Nina, is there any more about your journey that you would like to share?
Sure. Just one thing, which is that I did start out as a jewelry designer. And in 1991, my family home burned down in a big firestorm. And we were actually really lucky just to get out alive. But everything burned and I had to start all over again. And I decided really when I searched my heart that I didn't really enjoy fashion. I enjoyed jewelry designers and working with other designers. And I had started a small line of jewelry findings and beads to make things, sterling findings that I needed that I couldn't find in the marketplace. And instead of going back into finished jewelry, I decided I was going to pool all my resources and expand that part of the business. So in some ways, you know, when you have terrible things happen, sometimes it can actually really be a gift because I definitely wouldn't be where I am today with my business and all of my wonderful designer customers if it hadn't been for that kind of horrifying experience.
Well, first of all, I want to say, oh my God, that's like awful. I can't even imagine. But I really, like what you said really resonates with me too, because sometimes like life's biggest tragedies really give birth to something that is way beyond what we even can expect in that moment, to something so much bigger that if that awful thing had to happen, at least this like amazing thing sort of like flourished out of it.
Exactly.
Cool. Yeah. A door closes, but there's always another door open. You have to keep your eyes wide open for that.
Well, and sometimes it opens doors within you so that you can have honest conversation with yourself.
Absolutely. Such a good, I like this. It's like Yogi Nina.
I'm actually levitating here. You can't see me.
Okay, perfect. We're right on the same page. All right, so today's all about making the business of jewelry fun. And I love hearing more about your story and hearing about how you were an artist and then went to business school and, you know, we're on the same page. I'm like giving you high fives virtually right now, thinking about like, you know, being an artist and making money, because I think that's really, really important. But oftentimes, you know, creative people, including myself, the idea of the business stuff, you know, when they don't have the right mindset, really weighs them down and you know, it causes them to procrastinate or put it off or you know, quite frankly, they're just not really excited about dealing with those parts of the businesses, even though they know that they need to do it. And some of it might be because they're more right brain than left brain, and you know, there might be all different reasons for that. But I think you have a different opinion about that. And so can you tell me a little bit more about how your approach to business can make it a little bit more fun?
Sure. So I've spent a lot of time thinking about how to bring fun into even the sort of rote and routine aspects of taking care of business. I do think the first thing is it's much easier to embrace all of that if you think of the business as your freedom and your liberation. I also think calendaring your business activities so that you're chipping away a little bit every day really makes a big difference, because it's not then piling up and weighing down on you and becoming something that you dread. And I even suggest sometimes having time in your calendar that you actually color green, whether it's a couple hours a day or a couple days a week, that's your green time. And that's the time that you spend focused on your business.
Oh, I like it. I was going to say, is there a significance to the color green? I mean, I think the obvious one is the color of the U.S. money, but
you can do purple if you want, but green is often for money, but it also is for thriving and for springtime. And
it's a happy color. It's a good color.
Yeah, it's a happy color.
Yeah.
But the point is just, you don't have to decide, am I going to do it now? Am I not going to do it now? You're just forming positive habits. And it becomes automatic. And so that whole inner dialogue of I have to do this, but when am I going to do it? But I have to do it. You just stop that and get it out of your head.
Yeah, and I'm a huge proponent of, I call it time blocking, like scheduling chunks of time out of your calendar. And then also, making sure that you're not overwhelming yourself with too much to do and that you really are focused on 3 things a day to get those things done. And then once those are done, you can move on to other stuff. But making it a priority. I love the idea of color blocking your calendar, because that makes it look like even more of a priority, and you know exactly what that color stands for, which is super cool. I like that. And that's creative too. Like, we all resonate with colors as artists, so I like that idea. I'm going to start using it.
Keeping things visual.
Yes.
So then the other really big thing for me is setting goals. Having annual goals, but then also quarterly, monthly, weekly, and sometimes even daily goals. The most obvious thing is around sales, but also it's important to have some goals that are not sales related, because sometimes your sales aren't going that well and it can feel like then nothing's going well.
Right.
So it's important to have, for instance, we have something that we call our mistakes goal. So if we can keep our invoicing mistakes or our charging mistakes under a certain percentage every month, then that's another way that we can make one of our goals. And the reason that that's important is because you don't just set goals, but it's super important to celebrate when you make your goals.
Yes.
You always want your goals to be a reach, but not crazy impossible, because then you're just like, oh, I'm never going to make it. But when you do make a goal, whether it's, a daily goal or a weekly goal, set ahead of time, what your rewards will be if you meet your goals, and then stop and really celebrate and give yourself and your team time to savor that. So a really good example is if we make our weekly sales goal here in the office, we have a little stuffed purple dinosaur that sings a rap song.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
We play it and we all dance around the office, and it's totally silly, but it's so much fun and people really look forward to it. And if we're going through a slow sales, sometimes sales are slow and it's totally out of your control, but we might make our mistake goal. And so we still get a chance to, have
dance with
the purple dinosaur.
Is the purple dinosaur Barney?
I think it's like a street version of Barney.
So funny.
A ghetto Barney.
A ghetto Barney. I love it. Oh my God, that's amazing.
I don't even know where he came from, but he just appeared in our life, and now he's our mascot. So, I want
to go work at your office.
We do have a good time, but the thing is we also work really hard, and it's super meticulous, and you have to really focus. And there's just a lot of, they say bean counting. We're bean counters, right? Like everything that comes in has to be checked. Everything that goes out has to be checked. And so it's tiny little things, and it can drive you a little crazy. So, it's really one of the things we do is we try and make sure that even the customer service staff has some creative time every week to make design ideas for our website. We have a whole section on our website, which is our free design ideas because our core mission is to inspire our customers. So we show them all different ways that they can use our parts, and we try and give everybody some time each week to do that, because anybody that's working in a jewelry business is there because they love jewelry, they love being creative, and if you don't give people some time to indulge that, then they're not going to be happy, and eventually they'll burn out.
Absolutely. That's a great philosophy and way to approach it. And I think creative time is important for everything. In fact, I just got back from a trip to Italy, and I was on a copywriting retreat, so it was technically for work. But one of the things that I realized when I left and came back is that, it's hard when you're like in your business and working on things to really see like the disconnect of what needs to happen in order to get to that next level. And so I feel like one of the things that I recognize is I need to be spending more time during my week being creative, because not doing that and, not having the fun approach to business all the time. I mean, I try to make Flourish and Thrive Academy really fun, and my jewelry business is fun, obviously. But, sometimes you're bogged down with tasks that are like redundant, or like you have to get done and they're not like the thing that you want to get done. But giving yourself that space for creativity and like stepping away, like physically away, is like a great way to kind of get back to that inspiration piece and creative piece. And I love it that you do that for your customer service staff, and then that turns into inspiration for your customers.
Yeah, and sometimes it's as simple as just getting up and going outside and taking a 5-minute walk.
Yeah,
like that totally can be amazingly, rejuvenating, and just connecting, going somewhere where you can like look at the sky for a few minutes and move your body around.
Absolutely.
If there's a lot of ways. The other thing we do is if it's someone's birthday, well, we actually have a fun committee.
I like it.
So we have
Who's on the fun committee?
Yeah, we have a fun committee, and they plan activities for us. It's great for team building, and also then they get to have a say in what kind of creative activities we do. So if it's someone's birthday, we might celebrate by doing a huge group finger painting mural.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
Yeah, we have it up in our warehouse. It's really fun. I mean, it's silly. We're like kindergartners sometimes. But, for our Valentine's Day, we get out all the arts and crafts supplies, and we decorate boxes, and then we put treats in the boxes for each other. And every year, some of us have boxes we've had for a couple of years, and we add new layers of collage and sculpture to our boxes, and they get kind of out there and crazy. But, you don't always want it to be something productive in terms of being able to apply to the business. Sometimes it's just like fun and creative just for the sake of that. And in the meantime, you're also team building and getting to know your coworkers and in a more relaxed atmosphere.
I love that. So I want to kind of move on to this mindset piece, because,
Sure.
I think part of it is trying to figure out how to like reframe your energy around the stuff that you kind of have to do. And a lot of the designers, and makers have solo businesses or very small teams. So do you have any recommendations for ideas for getting inspired to sort of like shift your mindset so that the approach to maybe some of these businessy tasks isn't so daunting?
Yeah, I mean, just again, it feels daunting. It feels like a distraction, but you're really building the foundation to allow you to do those other things that you want. And I would say, like, pay attention to the small details. Like, do you have a favorite pen? Do you enjoy colorful highlighters? Does your screensaver make you smile? I have pictures of my kids at all different ages that like pop up on my screen as my screensaver. And I can't tell you, like, that totally perks me up and brings me joy when I like turn around and suddenly there's a picture of, my 21-year-old daughter when she was 2. But it's different for everybody. I know everybody in my office has more fun when I bring my dog to work. She knows who will let her sit in their lap, who will give her treats, who's good for a belly rub. But it's, that whole thing around managing your energy rather than always your time. Sometimes you have to spend time doing certain things, but you can still manage your energy around it.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about gamification and so we're talking about fun, we're talking about doing business stuff. How, I think like something that I used to do when we created sales goals, when I had my in-house salesperson, we would make it a game, like trying to reach the sales goals, and we'd have like competitions with each other. So do you do anything like that in your business, or recommend anything that you can do to create like sort of like a game-like environment to make it almost like a competition, so it's like exciting and fun?
Yeah, I don't know how your other designers feel, but my creative people sometimes actually don't like competition with others that much. We try and make it more about competition with yourself and as a team. So we set team goals, and we actually have a chart, and we actually, if we make our goal after we do our dinosaur dance, we actually put a little gold star on the chart for that week. And we have different levels of reward. So if we make our weekly goal, everybody gets a $25 credit towards jewelry supplies. If we make our quarterly goal, we all get chair massages. And then if we make our yearly goal, it's always some kind of big blowout thing. But I think you can even do it, like if there's a daily task that you really dread, you can say, okay, I have to do this, but when done, I get to, get up and have tea and a cookie or something like that. You can make little tiny games even within the day, where you have little rewards that you can look forward to. I was talking to my team before we did this podcast to see if they had any suggestions of things I should bring up. And my VP actually said, the thing I love the most is just like taking my pen and like drawing a line through tasks as I finish them. Like, it's just so satisfying. I just love crossing things out. So, everybody's different. And you have to really pay attention to what gives you that little flush of joy, because sometimes it's not a big thing. It's a little thing.
I love all of those ideas. And when you talked about putting a star sticker on the chart, I totally had a flashback to 6th grade and the book club competition that we were having about how many books you could read.
Yeah, exactly.
I am kind of a competitive person, but I think that's more because I come from a family of 8 kids, and you have to be competitive to stand out.
So one of the things I really dread are meetings. And I realized a couple years ago that having no meetings in a company once you have 12 to 14 people is a really bad idea. And I couldn't avoid having one meeting a week with all hands on deck. So the way that I made it fun for me is I asked everybody to email the customer service manager when they noticed anything outstanding that one of their coworkers did that embodied one of our core values. And the core values are creativity, excellence, respect, teamwork, initiative, and inspiration. So every week when we go to meetings, she reads out praises from one coworker to another, and it's just really delightful for me to see people's faces light up when they get recognized.
That is amazing.
Yeah. And then at the end of the meeting, we always have a question, and it might be, what's your favorite meeting, or what animal would be if you could choose? And we go around, and by sharing our answers to that, we learn so much about each other, and it brings us closer together, because when you're running a company, sometimes, you don't always have direct contact every day with every person. And it's just a nice way to bring things down to earth and have a human connection with everyone. So now I look forward to our weekly meetings. So that's just an example of how you can use your creativity to invigorate something that you might dread on the business end.
I'm going to bring that strategy to our meetings and say, like, we're going to do shout outs to people who are embodying the company values. I love that. That's such a great idea.
Yeah, it's really worked out well. And I think, one of the things I would want to close with is that, when I started out as a jewelry designer and then designing jewelry parts and supplies. But one of the things that happens in business is if you're successful and you're smart, you wind up hiring people that are better than you at everything. And I have a design team now that's actually better than me. And my primary creative project is actually crafting the business itself, crafting the culture of the business, crafting the strategy of the business. And that has required a huge mind shift because I felt oppressed by that until I embraced it and realized that it was an amazing opportunity to create impact on a much larger scale, both in the lives of the people who work here and for our customers, and also through all of our philanthropic initiatives. We give microloans. We've done over $100,000 of microloans to
That's
artisans
awesome.
worldwide. We plant trees, forest gardens, to offset our carbon footprint, and when I realized that that was all part of my creative project in crafting the business, suddenly it really shifted my perspective, and I was able to embrace my role and not feel like I had been sort of, elbowed out of the fun stuff.
So like,
So
you can no longer design.
And I'll still sit down and do design ideas, and I'm involved with the designing in terms of, we do design retreats, and I'm definitely involved, but I'm not the one sitting there with the stylist, doing it. And that was a struggle. But once I was able to reframe it in my head, it liberated me to then explore all the creative possibilities in the role that I actually have.
You know what? I love that, because when you're able to step away and allow yourself to think outside the box, because I think that's sort of like what I'm getting here, and really like approach your business from a creative space and have a lot of fun, something so much bigger evolves. I think when you're so like single focused, like you could have stayed totally single focused and been on Telegraph Avenue selling, hippie jewelry for, your entire life, or until that stopped happening. I don't know when that stopped happening, but, and that path would have been such a different one than you've been on today. And like, what a brilliant path you're on. You know what I mean? And I feel like, we all have this opportunity for something so much bigger beyond what we just see right in front of us.
I always, when I feel really stuck with a problem, I always try and think of the game Boggle. I don't know if you've ever played
I've
that.
heard of it, yeah.
Boggle is really humbling to me because you shake the little cube and then you write down all the words you can see. And then if you're playing it on your phone, it will show you all the words you missed. And there's always a ton of words that you totally know and were right in front of you that you just did not see. And I really, to me, I'm always thinking about that in the business. What are the things that are right in front of our face that we just can't see because like we're locked into one way of looking at it?
Brilliant closing notes. I love that. On that, I think that we should wrap this up. And I wanted to mention that you're offering a really special treat for our audience. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. We have a coupon code just for your listeners. The coupon code is Thrive, and it's good for $10 off an order at ninadesigns.com. We sell all kinds of beautiful charms and pendants and clasps and earring tops, but also, our website is a great place just to come for inspiration. That's our mission, and we have lots of free design ideas. We have technical tutorials and videos, and if you do social media, we have a fabulous Instagram feed. That's Nina Designs Jewelry. We're on Pinterest. If you type in Nina Designs, one word, we should pop right up. We have some great inspiring boards, and we're also on Facebook. So we hope you come and check out our community. And we always like interacting with creative people. So we hope we can inspire you.
Nina, thank you so much for being here today and sharing all of your wealth of knowledge with our listeners, and just being so cool. I love chatting with you.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. It was a real privilege.
And don't worry, because everything that Nina mentioned here, all the links to her social media and a link to the coupon code are going to be hosted over at the show notes. But you can reach that directly over at flourishthriveacademy.com/Nina Designs. Nina, thanks again for being here today, and take care.
Thank you.